Social, legal, and ethical issues. Data security. So, security is a multidimensional issue in relation to enterprise systems. Enterprises that store data about individuals on their system are responsible for its security of that data and the privacy of their customers and clients of whom that data is about. Okay, so there is that responsibility aspect that we maintain our clients and our employees' confidentiality of their data within our system. So that means protecting it from external people accessing the information, but also restricting those within our organization who have access to data, still maintaining confidentiality. And only people who need data as a part of their specific work can usually have access to that information. So, let's do a quick rehash of just some of the security tools that can be used within enterprises to protect information. And look, a foundation of this is enterprises conducting a comprehensive risk assessment. And this was spoken about in the Year 11 course in relation to cybersecurity, where we kind of identify vulnerabilities that are potentially, concerning within our enterprise, and that helps us prioritize areas that need attention. So we need to focus on certain aspects because that's where our bigger vulnerabilities are, because resources are finite. Time, human labor, and finances can only be dedicated in so many areas. So we do need to prioritize where our bigger risks are. So from here, we'd implement our tools. And the first tool is that of login procedures. Our passwords, okay, our biometrics when it looks at our physical data to log into a system, and then multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication, which is where we have the multi-step process for logging into a system. I put in my credentials and then I'm sending an SMS message to verify that I'm trying to log into a system. That kind of stuff. That protects the system at the login level, people getting into the system. Then, once in a system, we have different access levels. What authenticated users mapped to their accounts can do within a system, establishing them specific permissions. They can view data only, they can share specific types of information, they're able to edit data. Okay, all of that is under the permissions hat. Okay, so based on their job roles, what can they actually do? What parts of the system can they access? What data can they view? The third one is that of firewalls. Okay, firewalls filter incoming or outgoing data within a network, usually having predefined rules, okay, that are checking data for source and whether there are proxies installed on a system that's connecting to their network, okay, ensuring where data is coming from and where it is going, hopefully eliminating data coming from any unknown areas getting into the network or extracting data from the network. We then have encryption, which is used to protect data stored on drives as well as in transit. And it does this by scrambling the data using an encryption key, which makes it gibberish. So that way, if someone stole a hard drive, okay, and then tried to read the data on it, they wouldn't be able to read it. Or when it's being sent between a client system who's connecting with like an online e-commerce platform to purchase an item, well, the data of their financial information and personal information, when it is being sent between their system at their home with the online server for the e-commerce platform, the data is scrambled in between. That way, if it's intercepted, okay, no one can actually read it or comprehend it into anything useful. Intrusion detection systems, which are used by administrators to identify unauthorized access within a networked system and highlight that this user shouldn't be in the network and they can kick them out. Okay, just doing regular software updates is when the manufacturers provide updates to a system either to fix bugs or support security. Okay, and the manufacturers obviously knowing when there's vulnerabilities in their own system, which is then being used by enterprises to complete operations. Well, these enterprises, when these updates are pushed out, need to update them usually sooner rather than later. So it's best to automate these updates as well, okay, so they can ensure that their system has as much integrity as they can because they've updated their software on their system. And then finally, data storage and backup procedures to protect data against loss. So not necessarily anything malicious has happened. Could still be malicious. Could be the system gets locked in a ransomware attack and all that. But it also could be natural things like a fire or a natural disaster that has, done something to the physical site of the actual enterprise and we've lost data. But if we've backed it up at an external location in the cloud, we'll be able to get our data back. Okay, so it's protecting against that data loss. So they're all tools that can be used in combination to provide data security for a network within an enterprise. Now, The big issue here is data is valuable to malicious entities. That's why we need to protect data. Data is extremely valuable to malicious entities who may exploit vulnerabilities of a system for financial gain or sabotage. So that's kind of what's at the crux here, why we need to protect data. People want to get that data so then they can use it either for fraud, okay, for ransomware, okay, in any aspect, okay, for a negative reason. And that's why enterprises need to protect their data using these security methods. Managing these security methods, it takes time. It's an ongoing process, keeping these things up to date, removing user accounts when they leave an organization and updating passwords, okay, continually backing up data to online platforms, which is increasing the scale of actual storage space that you need. Okay, the downloading of software updates. It all takes a lot of time. Okay, and for this reason, if you are or your business starts slacking off, vulnerabilities start to grow within your enterprise again if you're not staying on top of all this stuff, because threats are ongoing. The malicious entities are always out there, and you need to keep your data protected. So it's not just setting these security tools up, it's maintaining them well throughout your enterprise ongoing. The positive side of this is data protection and the privacy of information. Okay, essentially the whole point of security is to protect data of enterprises and individuals. Okay, the people who are customers of the enterprise, the employees, okay, all of that. It's keeping that data protected. Through implementing security tools and access levels, the personal data of information is limited to those who have access to it. So not necessarily everyone in the enterprise, but those who have permissions set up to actually see specific data, as well as under the Freedom of Information Act, those users of whom the data is about are able to see their own data within a system too. So limiting who can actually see the data, okay, meaning less people have access to that data and keeps it as private as it can. Strong strategies in place to protect the information from unauthorized access will hopefully deter cybercrime threats. If a malicious entity knows, well, that enterprise is a hard nut to crack, it's very hard to get into, I'm not going to try them, I'll go try somewhere else. Okay, it's a deterrent as well when they know that it's strong. But when a company is seen as having weaker security, they might become a target of more attacks as well. So you do want strong data protection practices in place and security tools to support it. But I hope this video has just given you a bit of a reminder of what data security is. I think people have a lot of good background into what the data security tools are and how they're used in different ways to secure data within the system. Remember, what we're defending against is the fact that data is valuable to malicious entities, and that's all we're going to protect against. And then by putting in these protection things to keep data private, keeps our system safe. It keeps better trust in our system from society as well. People will be more happy to give data to our system. They know it's going to be safe when stored in our system. So it's good for our enterprise, because unfortunately, when cyber crime attacks do happen, it can be detrimental to an enterprise's reputation, whether they had good systems in place or not. Okay, it gets remembered. It can affect their business. Okay, when a cyber crime attack occurs, so we want appropriate data security tools in place, as well as procedures to keep people's data safe when stored in an enterprise system.